What's up everybody, Ramey here, and today what we're doing is we are going to compare Rogue versus Rep pin and pipes. I thought this would be an interesting comparison, and I could even talk about the Titans as well because I've used them before too. I thought this would be an interesting comparison because these pin and pipes are pretty different from one another. You just think like pin and pipes are pin and pipes. But that's not really the case when you get down and start to look at the different brands. I mean, even just looking at these, you can see like these are curved differently. So we're going to talk about all the differences between the two and what I like and dislike about each one of these. And I'll throw in talking about the Titans as well because I've owned them before. To talk about the differences. Now, I'm a huge fan of pin and pipes. I think they're one of the best safeties. I think everyone should have a set just because they're so cheap, even if you don't necessarily use them every day because there's so many uses for pin and pipes. In this video, we're not talking about all those uses. We're talking about basically the differences between these two. So let's kind of start out with the Rep pin and pipes. We'll kind of talk about the Rep pin and pipes, and then we will talk about the Rogue. All right, so we're going to start by talking about the Rep pin and pipe. So the Rep pin and pipes. So first of all, the pins. The pins, it looks like they're covered in a chrome. I shouldn't say hard, but they're covered in a chrome or polished. They're covered in some kind of coating, which makes them nice and smooth. I've actually never seen pins look so beautiful and feel so smooth. Like, they look great. They just feel so great because they're so smooth because they're covered in chrome. Some unique features of the Rep pins is one, this 45-degree angle here versus both Titan and Rogue have a 90-degree. And the little hole on the end, which you can see, allows you to stick a pin in to prevent, it's just like an extra safety feature so the pins never come out. Now, when I first saw this feature online, I thought this was brilliant and I thought it was great, but in practice, we'll talk about what I think in practice. So that's the Rep pins. Now, the Rep pipes, again, these are like the smoothest pipes I've ever felt. They feel great, like they feel like they've been sanded or painted very well. They're just really, really nice and smooth. They don't feel like gritty at all. One interesting thing about the pins for Rep is you can see the thickness of the inside. It feels very thin compared to both the Titan and Rogue. Let me just put the Rogues side to side. I'm hoping you can see that difference, how different the thickness that is. The Rogue pin pipes are at least double as thick. I mean, this is a 24-inch, this is 30, and this 24-inch is way heavier than this. Now, having said that, I don't think that's going to matter in functionality at all. I think these are way, way, way strong enough to take anything you're going to drop on it. So I don't think that's going to matter. It's just something I noticed, that they're thinner. Just kind of interesting. All right, let's take the Rogue pins. So the Rogue pins are basically what I've seen of every company. It's the exact same as Titan and everywhere else. A polished or sanded steel bar, basically, with a 90-degree pin. You can see just a normal pin goes in. There is no little latch. And let me talk about that little latch. Let me get there in a second. Just when I talk about some of the differences between these two pins. But this is just a normal pin. It does feel good. It's not as shiny as the Reps, but honestly, I don't think that's really a big deal. Doesn't affect functionality at all, and I don't really notice the difference whatsoever. Now, the pipe, I've already talked about the thickness difference, but one of the biggest differences in the pipe is that this feels real gritty, like it wasn't sanded enough. In fact, when I opened the package of the Rogue pipe, it was actually like my hand was black. There was black stuff all over the place. Just all over my hands and all over the package. Like it wasn't, like it was sanded and never wiped or cleaned, and it just wasn't sanded well. Now that black stuff, that happens when you order lots of lifting products. Not a big deal. Sometimes you open up a package that had black stuff, black material like this in it, and there's black stuff in the package. It's not a big deal. I literally just took a rag and wiped it all away. Not a big deal. So I didn't care about that. What I don't like though is this almost feels, the texture of these pipes feel like rubbing a chalkboard. Like it makes you want to, like, the hair stand up in the back of your neck. Like that's what these do to me, which is really weird. But I do like that they're thick. It's actually brilliant. All right, let's talk about the differences between these two pin and pipes. What I like and don't like about each of them. And I've kind of already hit on some of those points, but first of all, so if we look behind me actually, we can see I've got the Rep pin and pipes in my 30-inch, and I've got the Rogue pin and pipes, and I just kind of threw in my 30-inch. These are only 24 pins. Now here's what's fascinating about these. Let me make sure you can all see this here. So the Rep pin and pipes literally come through the back of the rack. They only leave me like an inch of leeway. So the Rogue pin and pipes and the Titan pin and pipes, so these are 24 inches. They almost fit into my 30-inch rack even though they're 24 inches. Why? Because both Rep and Titans, both Rogue and Titans pins for a 24-inch rack are like about 30 inches. They have like 3 or 4 extra inches of leeway there, maybe like 27 or whatever. No, because there'll be 3 plus 3 plus the 24 is 30, so like an extra 3 to 4, yeah, so they're like 33 inches or something like that. But for a 24-inch rack, Rogue's pins will come out the back like 3 to 4 extra inches, which is why you don't need one of these little safety pins. I thought the safety pin was like for just an extra precaution, which I thought was cool, because like, hey, if it had it, I might use it sometimes. But I've never had a problem with my pins moving either. Now on Rep's pins, they actually do move. And I think the reason they move is because of this chrome is so slippery that the pins actually slide in my rack. They require this pin. This pin is a pain in the butt. Every time I change my pin and pipes, I gotta put this little pin in. If I don't, it literally, while I'm lifting, will move and fall out. It's done it, because I've forgotten sometimes, and it's kind of like backed off and fallen. I've been like, are you kidding me? So, comparing the two pin and pipes to one another, and I'll say Rogue and Titan versus Rep pin and pipes, I much prefer the Rogue and Titan pin and pipes to the Rep for the simple fact that these aren't long enough. They're like 3 inches too short. Like if Rep would have made them like up to there, I wouldn't need this safety pin, and these would be beautiful, perfect. But they're not, and they require the safety pin, and the safety pin is, I do like the idea of having the option for the safety pin, but it's actually required with Rep pins, which I think is kind of a pain. It's just an extra step you have to deal with when you're working out. It's like a little thing, and you lose them, and then you got to go buy more at Tractor Supply or Ace Hardware, wherever, or Lowe's, at Home Depot kind of thing. You got to go buy more of them. So I think it's kind of a pain. I think that the chrome on the Rep pins kind of encourages them to slide it a little bit because it's pretty slippery. Whereas the grittiness and solid of the Rogue makes them not slip as much. One of the other things I've noticed between these two pins, and this has to do with sizing, and this will be for every metric versus imperial, is that Rogue is true to 1 inch, whereas Rep is imperial. So these are like just that tiny bit smaller, which actually makes them fit better into all racks. So the Rep will definitely fit nicer into Rep and Titan and other metric racks, whereas the Rogue are just a little tighter in my Titan uprights, but they fit perfectly. So, and I have Rep cross members. The Rogue fits perfectly in both of them, but it's just a little bit tighter, something I've noticed. But those are kind of the big differences between these two. If I had to choose, I bought the Rep because they're 30 inches, and I have a 30-inch cross member spot by Rep, so I wanted to get their pin and pipes. Their pin and pipes are also pretty cheap. The Rogue pin and pipes, I could have got, like, I much prefer, I really like the 90-degree angle much better. It just, I don't know, it just feels better. Rep was trying to like make it more ergonomic, but it just, I don't know, maybe it like looks weird or something. I just much prefer, I'm just used to the 90-degree and I don't want to change that. I wish Rep would extend their pin and pipes a bit like Rogue. I do like the polish, and I like the smoothness of this versus the Rogue, so there is that advantage of the Rep ones. But those are kind of my thoughts between the two pin and pipes, just to compare them. I'm a big fan, as I said, I'm a huge fan of pin and pipes, which is why I would even bother doing this comparison. So if anyone has multiple pin and pipes, I'd love to hear your thoughts, kind of what you like and don't like about them. And yeah, that's it. It's my review. Later all.